Hello. It's time for another calm and collected review of a modern battleship in World of Warships. And today it's the Bungo. The Bungo is appropriately named because the entire purpose of this ship is to push the shit of cruiser players' bungholes in. Yeah, that's literally why you exist. Um, Wargaming's Battleship Department, Fever Dream, this Neptune spotted. Trying to get behind the rock. Fire a shot, pop the spotter. Go ahead, leave your keyboard and mouse. Just take a sip of beer because you know he's dead. Because he's going to be dead every fucking time that you get someone like that in a cruiser. And that is the point of the ship. That's why it exists. That's why it has 12.1 concealment, so you can get in close. That's why it has this spotter plane that gives you a level of accuracy that I can only really describe as completely fucking retarded. Um, like nobody knows why it's necessary. You have 10 457s with like railgun ballistics. Think Bourgogne, Colombo ballistics. That's basically what you have. Flight time out to 20 kilometers is virtually identical. Um, they do about the same damage that Montana does. So they have about the same pen that Montana does. Now, you might be thinking, well, why would 457s have so little pen? Well, you see, dear viewer, we can't be citadeling battleships in 2024 in battle. Come on, think a little bit here. We can't have a boat like Slava that, doesn't have good damage output or good armor like this, right? Not very good damage output, 10 guns, Montana damage. Slava has 9, right? Even worse damage. But we can't have boats like Slava that can citadel BBs across the map or even at moderate range. So no, 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 no. The AP pen is like atrociously nerfed on this ship to the point where I wouldn't even attempt to citadel battleships past like 13 kilometers. There's some exceptions, right? Like Incomp, Conqueror, ships like that. Lower tiers, NC, obviously you'll get sets, but yeah, generally speaking, with the AP you go upper belt. So we're not good at one-shotting battleships. But you know what that means? That means that we have to be really good at toxically spamming them. So, in their infinite wisdom, Wargaming decided to give this ship. This is an arms race buff, so we're doing a little less damage. But the HE does over 7,000 damage a shell. And you might think, that's not really anything super special, right? And with only a 35% fire chance, it's definitely not anything super special. Well, here's the problem. You have the spotter plane, which makes you like the most accurate battleship in the game by 10, 15, 20% when the spotter plane is up. So on a nose-in battleship or anything at close range, you hit 10 out of 10 fucking HE shells. It is definitely normal. It is astonishingly normal to get 10 to 17,000 damage HE salvos on battleships. It's hilarious on carriers that have less than 77 flight deck. I mean, you can see the dispersion here. This angled Wisconsin, like one shell drop short, but I mean, it's like, here's the thing. The boat is balanced, quote unquote, heavy quotes around balanced. The boat is balanced around having a low gun count. You don't have a lot of guns and they don't do a lot of damage. But here's the thing, Wargaming. Oh, there you see we can't get Citadel. Yeah, we'll look at the armor at the end of the video. You can't get Citadel in this thing. It's basically impossible. But anyway, yeah, low gun count and low damage per shell doesn't really fucking matter when none of your shells miss, does it? No, it doesn't. And we still got the spotter plane up, and we're gonna shoot this guy with HE. Yeah, Yeah, the only reason that wasn't 18,000, 19,000 is because we hit 2 shells on his turret. So this Wisconsin gets to do less damage with that giant hit on us than we do with that HE damage in the fire. And, you know, his nose is on... This is spotter plane down, by the way. Yeah, 8 out of 10 for another fire and 13,000 damage. Yeah. Yeah, this boat is no armor, right? That's the meme. No armor. Bungo, no armor. We all know the armor's dog shit. So this guy should definitely win, right? I mean, no armor, bad damage output. He should definitely win, right? I mean, we missed most of that salvo. It's still 6,000 damage. Yeah, it's really just incredibly fucking tragic. We're going to look at 2 replays. Both, like, super, super short games. Not very impressive damage games. But we're trying to highlight the average Bungo experience. There you go. 8 out of 10 shells on a nose-in battleship at this range. And this guy has, like, no ability to win this fight. Because he can shoot my belt and bounce. He can shoot my nose and mostly overpen. Or he can shoot my superstructure mostly over. I mean, look at the... Yeah, we go down. Our team wins this game. Yeah, on to the next review. Welcome back, and we're in the next replay instantly. And we're going to open this game by missing this Salem. And he's going to get dark here. And this is the next game I played, okay? He gets dark. Spotter plane's up. Try a blind fire. I paused the replay because I want to stress something. This is a blind fire shot several seconds after a ship went dark. You're about to see dispersion with no lock on. This is unlocked dispersion. This is unlocked dispersion. And he's dead. Why? Why? I mean, is it unreasonable as a cruiser player to think when you get dark, you can gamer turn out 3 seconds later and not have 10 fucking battleship shells stacked on top of you? Why? Why? I don't get it. Why is this in the game? And we're going to skip through. Boring game, boring game, boring game. We're trying to show the Bungo experience, okay? And a couple of things are going to be consistent in this video. We're going to start the game by dev striking a cruiser for free, right? We're then going to spend some of the game spamming some AP at battleships, getting way too many hits while they're angled. Here we've got a shot coming up on a Wisconsin that hit 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 shells at 16 kilometers. Again, what is the point of balancing a ship? I said this... God, what? One of these videos I said this. I said this about another ship, and I can't remember what it was. But I said this about the Loria. The Loria is theoretically balanced around a low HP pool and a very exposed citadel, and being clunky and vulnerable to torps. But those features that the Loria has that quote-unquote balance it are negated in large measure by its improved citadel repair of 33% and the improved repair party readiness skill that makes HP pool not matter nearly as much as it should. And the Bungo, it's more just the ship itself, is that you have 10 guns that don't do a ton of damage. On paper, this damage output is pretty mediocre. But when you're so accurate that you just can't really miss, honestly, like sometimes the ship is too accurate and you get less damage than you normally would. But it's just... You can't claim that a ship is balanced around low shell count and low shell damage when it hits per salvo 90% instead of like a Montana. Montana has 12 guns that do the same damage per hit. But a Montana, like, you're lucky to hit 7 out of 12. Like, 7 out of 12 in a Montana is a great salvo at mid-range. And this boat, it's like, anything under 8 is dog shit. Like, you feel like you got fucking robbed in the Bungo when you only hit 8 out of 10. And, like, this is no spotter plane. Like, look at this dispersion with no spotter plane up. Like, you don't even need the spotter plane in this boat. And, like, what frustrates me to no end about this ship is what it should have been. What the Bungo should have been is a Japanese Slava. It's got a similar type of armor. At least Slava has a citadel. If you get close enough, you can citadel it. But, right, it's got no armor in the nose or stern. And low shell count, low shell damage per hit. We've got HE loaded now. You're seeing a similar trend. You get a free dev strike on a cruiser. Yeah, we just did 14,000 damage to that guy with an HE salvo. And, yeah, you start the game. You push in with brisk because you go 34 fucking knots. You dev strike a cruiser almost for free. You spam some AP for mid-range. And you get some battleships that are more in a stationary situation. You spam HE at them. I mean, what the fuck is that salvo? That's only 6 out of 10. This guy still got fucking nuked. I mean, like, these are Conqueror plus salvos. I legitimately believe that this HE is more oppressive than Conqueror. If you know how to aim. If you know how to aim and you can lead shells, this HE is more oppressive than Conqueror because of the shell count that you hit. I mean, look at that. It's like every fucking shell hits him. I didn't even take damage this game like the other game because I ran in like a bot because I just didn't care. You know what? Okay, you're not convinced by the experience. Let's go one more. All right. We're in replay number 3. And this is a kind of a funny opening. We're not going to dev strike a cruiser, spoiler alert. There's only 2 cruisers in the game, very sad. You definitely want to see lots of cruisers in Bungo, because that's kind of their sole reason to exist. But a really funny experience in the Bungo is low-tier carriers. Yeah. 9 out of 10 shells on a nose-in target at 27 kilometers. Any carrier with a 30 millimeter or less flight deck, which is a lot. It's a lot of these low-tier CVs. You basically can just free snipe them. If you're a carrier, like at the start of this game, I requested that my CV spot their CV, and he actually did. Yeah, it's... I mean, look at the fucking dispersion on this guy. It's incredibly toxic. I mean, fuck CV players and all that, sure. But why is it a thing? Like, I'm not defending CV players. Like, fuck this guy. But I mean, he's just dead in the first 3 minutes of the game. And this is no spotter plane dispersion. Like, is this your idea of bad dispersion wargaming? Like the point I'm making is this boat doesn't really need to have the spotter plane. Yeah, this guy's dead. Huh. So we've got 3 games in the Bungo. And full disclosure, I played 5 games, okay? These are 3 games that I have picked out of 5 games that I played. So I'm not saying you get first blood dev strike every single game, but you kind of do get it like most games. It's really just, oh man. And you know what kills me the most about Bungo? It's a bit of a sidetrack because, like, you're watching games with not a lot of max damage. And this boat is not gonna farm damage like Loria, Wisconsin, Mecklenburg, Rhode Island. It just doesn't. It's not really a damage farmer. You can farm damage, especially if you're a damage farm play style player. I'm not really, but I mean, we're trying to hit his ass where he doesn't have good armor, and we hit fucking 6. Like, it's a solid hit. I mean, the boat. I don't even find this ship fun. Like, is it satisfying to watch 10 of your shells land on the exact same pixel of this poor cruiser fuck who's trying to play, I mean, in that first clip, the Neptune in 2024? Like, is it satisfying that you know they're going to be one shot, right? Like, you don't think you're going to one shot. Like, in the Bungo, you know that guy's dead. There is no question. It doesn't matter what cruiser he's in. Even cruisers that are very notoriously more harder to citadel, like Napoli, because you have the 30 overmatch, like, you just citadel the fuck out of them anyway. It does not matter. And it doesn't. I think this ship, more than most, like, even Loria, I talked about how Loria is kind of boring because it's so consistent. But, like, Loria has the speed and the nose-in tankiness to really push in like a bot and get away with it, which you almost can't do. Like, you can be a bot in Bungo. Please don't mistake me. You can absolutely just be a fucking idiot in this ship. But you can't be an idiot for, like, prolonged durations of time. You can't run at 4 ships and not die like you can in something like the Loria, because Loria has retarded armor. But the Bungo is like, once a game, assuming you start at remotely healthy HP pool, not only can you push in like a bot, but you just gamer turn him. There are situations where you are legitimately better off going flat to people, because I think you can kind of see in this video, but, like, the Bungo is not a very thick ship, okay? It's not super thick. And if people are really, really, really close range to you and they aim like belt, there's a lot of times where you can just overpen the whole fucking boat. Like, not even hitting superstructure or nose, just hitting upper belt, like, you overpen the entire ship. I think that happens later in this video. But you've noticed the trend, right? Again, we played 5 games. These are 3 out of 5. Okay. Free Dev Strike, opening kill on a cruiser, 2 games. This game free. First Blood. And I think you've noticed I'm running Yamamoto. And I swear to God, man, the Bungo gets First Blood, in my experience, more than any battleship I've ever played. I don't have amazing average damage in it. I don't have amazing maximum damage in it. But if there was a way to view the number of dev strikes and the number of first bloods you had in your battleships, I would bet my fucking house that Bungo 30k. It can't citadel battleships. Like, do you fucking need to when you stack 9 out of 10 for 30k? Anyway, I would bet my house that I have more dev strikes and first bloods per game in the Bungo than any other battleship in the game. Because, like, that is the entire purpose of the boat. Like, you push it in dev strike or cruiser. And it's probably the opening kill. I got first blood in 3 out of 5 games I played today. Actually, I think I got first blood in a 4th. But that game didn't highlight other things. I farmed like 250k in that game, but it wasn't a good. I'm trying to show average Bungo games, like, not games where you're last alive and you kite and farm a shit ton of damage, but, like, these are in my opinion very normal, very average games in Bungo. You start with a dev strike or a first blood, you spam a little bit of AP at broadside targets, and later game you kind of bot the fuck out if you can. That second game I didn't really have a chance to bot out, but you bot out, you don't take citadels, people angle up to you, you fucking 10 to 15k their nose with HE and you shit on them, or they try to drive by you and you really shit on them. Trying to drive by the Bungo is one of the most tragic boats in the entire game to try to drive by. I mean, it is up there with drive-bying GK or Preußen. Like, You are not going to Citadel the Bungo in a drive-by. It just is not going to happen. We'll look at the armor at the end of the video, but like, even at fucking 2 kilometers, your chance to Citadel this boat is unbelievably low. Unbelievably low. Have I taken Citadels in the Bungo? I think maybe I have. But like, I can't even recall when it's happened. I can't say, oh yeah, I played it 5 games today and I took a couple Citadels. Even boats like Wisconsin that have an underwater Citadel, like if you play 3 or 4 or 5 games in Wisconsin and you start gamer turning in front of people at medium range, like you will absolutely take a Citadel here and there. Way fewer than you should, don't get me wrong, but you will take a couple of Citadels. And here, this Montana, right? We're semi even on HP pools. He's gonna try to fight me, and he's gonna bounce, and we're gonna spam some HE at him for 11,000 damage and a fire. He's gonna keep angling because if he goes broadside to me, he insta dies, right? And I have the spotter plane ready. I have the spotter plane ready, and he'll shoot it down really quick if I use it. But for this one shot,
problem solved, sir.
Dude, what the fuck is that? And this would normally be suicide what I'm doing. Do this in almost any other battleship. Boom, overpens. Boom, overpens. Yeah, you know who ain't overpenning? Yeah, Bungo's not overpenning. Oh, man. I don't even enjoy playing the ship that much. Like, I truly don't. I don't find it, like, that much fun to play. And I think that is, like, some of the most tragic part of it. It's like, I don't even think this boat is rewarding, interesting, or fun to play. I mean, look at this dispersion without the spotter plane. Like, yeah, I'll take another free kill to end the game. Sure. Why not? Why not? Yeah. It's just like, is this fun? I don't even think it's fun, because if you get those juicy early dev strikes, you just feel fucking greasy about it. I mean, you just... Dude, this guy just like evaporated. This Montana evaporated. You just feel juicy about it. Or you feel dirty about the juicy kills, because it's not like Vermont where like it's hard to lead, the shells are slow, long reload time, etc., etc. I don't know. I can't really explain it other than it's not reward. I don't think it's rewarding to play. I don't. I just think you feel the toxicity as the abuser. There's a lot of boats that are toxic, like Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is a better ship than Bungo. Straight up, I think it's objectively overpowered, whereas Bungo is just more in the stupid and broken category. And I do separate those things. Overpowered to me is in every situation you're god tier, which is Wisconsin. Like slamming broadsides, you're basically, maybe you could argue, worse than Slava, but I wouldn't even accept that argument, because Slava's only better at ranges where Wisconsin can't Citadel. So like overall, I'd still rather have Wisconsin than Slava against most broadsides. But you know, you push in, you shit on people, you HE spam, you shit on people, like everything like this. Like Bungo can't really push in against sustained fire. Wisconsin can. Bungo doesn't slam broadside cruisers and battleships. Wisconsin does. So, like, Wisconsin, I think, is objectively OP, but Bungo just, it's like, it exists for almost only one reason, which is to send a cruiser back to port. You load in, you push up, you're stupid stealthy, you're too fast. This boat isn't even, like, objectively that fast. But because it's one of those boats where you can take brisk on it almost for free, it's like you take it because it's a brain dead skill, and you push in, and you get, instead of a Montana shooting your Salem at 19-20 kilometers, with slower shells, with no overmatch, with half the fucking accuracy, it's now Bungo just stacking 10 shells on your fucking anus and blowing you the fuck up. All right, we're back in port. We've got another beer. We're calm. We're calming down. We're gonna look at Bungo. We're gonna look at the build, the armor, etc. Let's start with the equipment. I think this is just objectively the choice. The fact that this boat can even fucking take this goddamn skill, this fucking module, is ridiculous to me. Why? Why? Okay. Because Bungo doesn't spot for range or to see over. Like, all right, you know what? You understand, okay? It's ridiculous. It improves your spotter duration. It basically lets you get like 2 extra shots off per spotter plane. Anyway, take that. I mean, who cares on this slot? Obviously, we take accuracy. You can take prop mod instead. This boat doesn't really tank. I take the fire skill, sue me. Concealment, obviously, because we're a cruiser. You know, we're a cruiser with 30 mil overmatch railguns. No big deal. No big deal. Definitely reload, guys. The base range is so retarded. Like, why this thing has 25-kilometer base range is absolutely gob fucking smacking to me. So we're taking reload. The captain has a little bit, I think, of wiggle room. You definitely need these two, okay? These are non-negotiable. The HE is fucking demonic. You're going to spam a lot of HE. You definitely want gun feeder. You definitely want grease the gears, especially with even, dude, keep in mind, this is improved plus 5% Yamamoto grease the gears. With reload mod, man, we were at 41.4 seconds. Like, nobody knows why. I honestly want, like, an explanation for why Japanese ships have dogshit turret traverse. And you might say, well, Montana and Wisconsin have 45-second turret traverse bays too. Yeah, but you know what those boats have? Is they don't have accuracy in slot 3. So what do? You take grease the gear. You take main battery modification 2 on most of your American battleships, unless you somehow feel like you need the range, which is like kind of insane, but most of the time you can take this for free if you want. So you don't have to give up accuracy. These are also mandatory, okay? So basically you're working with a 3-point skill differential, right? You're working with a 3-point skill differential. Now, you could drop emergency repair expert for improved repair party readiness. I actually think that is semi-valid because the Bungo doesn't really use its heals. If you've used 5 heals in any way in Bungo, you like it doesn't really happen. Because you just take nothing but pen damage in this thing. But you could. So you could drop this, which would give you 4 points to work with. I personally think Brisk is not objectively mandatory, but a bit of a troll to not take it because it gives you a very, very, very comfortable speed. You are 31.5 with the speed flag. This puts you up about 34. It's really nice for that opening push in. That opening push in, that extra 10% speed really, really does make a difference. I just think this is the build. I really do. I'm not saying you couldn't change it. You could drop emergency repair, grab improve repair party so you get your heals faster. Because your idea is if I don't need to use 5 heals, right, then I might as well drop the 4-point skill for the 3-point skill that gets the heals reloaded faster. Totally valid. You could absolutely make that change. If you wanted to do that, my recommendation would be you keep this and you drop emergency repair for preventative maintenance and improve repair party readiness. That would probably be what I would go with. I think that's actually pretty valid. But you know, this talent, this Yamamoto talent, like obviously it's nice, right? Like, and that's another reason you can make that drop because as you saw in all 3 of these replays, I got first blood and I only played 5 games to get these 3 replays recorded. So, I mean, another reason, pretty valid. But this talent is like just demented on this boat because if you push a flank, especially especially with a competent destroyer who pushes up to spot for you. If you push a flank with Brisk, you break that timing that cruiser players have, right? You push in on your Des Moines, you want to get on a rock, you want a radar for your team. You get spotted, you're like, oh, there's a destroyer. Okay, you radar the destroyer, right? You maybe turn out a little bit to get some guns off, and boom, there's the fucking Bungo, baby, 16 km off your forehead, and you blow the fuck up. So you just get you get first blood like crazy in this boat. It's insane. It's gotta be like the highest first blood and dev striking battleship in the game. At least for me. It's like at minimum every other game you dev strike for first blood. It's that ridiculous. So that's the build. Let's look at the armor real quick here. We can see uh, the crack pipe Wargaming was smoking was filled. It was very, very filled up. So you got this 25 nose, which isn't very big, I want to draw your attention to. Okay. This 25 ass, which actually has a very substantial partial icebreaker on it, these cheek plating. Everything else is 32, right? Not ideal for HE spam, not ideal for 32 overmatch, okay? You know, so we're squishy, right? I mean, we take a lot of pen damage. Fair, I'll admit it. There's a lot of shell traps here. You do take pen damage. This is why this boat is not long-term tanky, like I said, is because it takes a lot of penetration damage. But let's start to peel away the layers of this. Okay? You have 32 millimeter torpedo protection. You have a little bit of spacing for a 343 millimeter belt. You then have a turtle back of 102 millimeters. And then your citadel is heavily angled at 102. So like shells coming in at close range, right? Let's assume a 0-degree angle. This is effectively like 130 millimeters of armor. This slope is effectively something like 130 millimeters of armor, giving you 260. That you can see we're at like 600. Like you're over 600, and it's partially spaced, and it's at the top. The roof of the citadel is basically at the waterline, right? It's basically at the waterline. So, like, I don't want to say citadeling the Bungo is physically impossible, because I'm sure it's happened to me. But, like, at really close range, at closer ranges, are you gonna take a citadel? Like, basically no chance. At the range where you start to citadel ships like Montana, they don't citadel you back. You just game return, they game return, you delete them, they 20k you. It's like the worst combination of battleship armor, because the boat is a giant low armor shell trap. Like you can see how like you go nose in the Bungo, and like anything here is a pen, right? The superstructure does get overpenned, and so does the nose at an angle, but you just gobble full pens, right? But then you can game return and just get the fuck away with it. I mean, yeah, it's really tragic. It's definitely not in the class of some of these other battleships like Wisconsin and Laria, and even Incomp. I think Incomp's overall better, but it's just broken. The fundamental game design that Wargaming went with is a broken fucking game design. A battleship with no dispersion that overmatches cruisers everywhere. And you might be thinking, well, Vermont kind of does that. No, okay? And you have railguns, okay? There's kind of a generally accepted rule. The Kremlin has 457 overmatch railguns, but they're not accurate at long range, right? Dev striking a cruiser at 18 kilometers in a Kremlin is probably never going to happen if they're full HP. You got to roll the god RNG salvo. Vermont, the shells are very slow. They have a lot of time to dodge. Dodging Vermont shells at medium to long range is not very difficult. These shells are basically the same speed as Bourgogne and Colombo shells, like the Railgun 380 tier 10s in the game. Why? It's incredibly fucking stupid. So like at mid range, 15, 16 kilometers, unfucking dodgeable. Okay, in your cruiser, undodgeable, overmatch you everywhere, zero dispersion. Even without a citadel, 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10 shells are gonna hit you. They're gonna full pen you. You're losing 25k minimum, or you're just blowing the fuck up like you saw in 2 of these 3 games. I don't find the ship particularly enjoyable to play. I respect how broken it is, how retarded it is. It is hilarious and somewhat satisfying when you dev strike cruisers for first blood, but it's like hard to recommend this ship because it's broken, but I don't really like it. Um, it's almost like too relaxing to play, and it is harder to carry in. Like your game impact comes too early. So in these games, like we dev struck a radar cruiser. Next game we dev struck a radar cruiser, and then we first blooded a CV. Like basically improved our team's odds of winning from 50% to like 60-65% with the first 2 salvos of each game. And that's game impact, but like it doesn't feel satisfying. I don't really know. I'm rambling, I'm ranting, I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's just not a super satisfying boat. It's not really unique. Like, I enjoy Vermont way more. Vermont feels like I have to earn it. I think that's what it is. When I play Vermont, I love the Vermont, and I feel like I have to earn my dev strikes because of the slower shells, the longer reload. I feel like I have to earn my positioning because I don't go 34 knots with Brisk. With Brisk, I go like, what, 26 in Vermont? So you can't just like sprint up the middle and just dev strike a cruiser ASAP. You have to, it feels like you have to earn it. And Vermont can carry later game better than Bungo. So it's that dual combination of the early game impact Bungo has feels undeserved and cheap and unfair, and the late game impact is kind of really low unless the enemy blows, like they kind of did in these 3 games. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Bungo. Um, really, really stupid game design. Totally breaks the game for basically every cruiser player, even like people with armor. You just HE stack 10 on their forehead and 15k their Moscow or Stalingrad. Um, but not like objectively overpowered in every way. Just incredibly stupid. Just stupid, stupid, stupid game design. I basically hate everything about it, including some of the time playing it. I either feel like I'd rather be in a traditional type of battleship where I can carry late game, or I just feel like I got cheesy griefer damage ASAP early and no one could do anything about it, and it has nothing to do with my skill. Anyway, thank you for watching.